Oh, I see it. I see them both up there. Oh, in broadcast. Oh, we live. No, I didn't take long.
All right.
It didn't take no time.
All right, everybody.
Yo.
It is May 30th.
Yep.
And what we want to welcome y'all to Real Brothers Live. We have our special guests tonight, Guy Lang and author Neil Nichols. We want to welcome everybody to our digital neighborhood. This is Real Brothers. This is Real Brothers Live, Real Brothers for the real world. And Stace, why don't you tell us what topics we're gonna be discussing tonight?
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Real Brothers for the real world. We got a couple interesting topics going on, but before we do that, we gotta we see Patrick's on. Before we do that, we gotta introduce our guests and let them give you the elevator version of tell us a little something about what you're doing and what the folks want to know. So we're gonna start with you, Neil.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Neil Nichols. I'm a 20-year Air Force veteran, retired veteran, currently residing here in North Carolina. And I want to say, first of all, I appreciate the opportunity to be a guest on this informative yet provocative podcast tonight. And I want to go ahead and also introduce you. See, I got all this information around me. So I have a book that I just published about a month ago, Artificial Rain. It's currently available on Amazon on ebook and paperback. And just to give you a quick little picture of what the book is about, it's a 3-part series. And as you can see here, just got the first and second versions of the book that's coming out. You got one that's out right now. The second one will be out this summer. And the third one will be out this fall. So basically, it's a horror science fiction book that, if you think of a Jurassic Park type of film, that's what this type of film movie is going to be, or type of book with the anticipation for it to be a movie concept. So it's basically about a situation where there's a drought on the East Coast. And because there's a drought, there's this process called cloud herding or cloud seeding, where they use silver iodine to put into the atmosphere so it can rain. But once it rains, this chemical comes down, yet beknownst to the folks on the East Coast. There's also this ancient mystic snake called a Maitai snake from Egypt, that if that chemical comes in contact with that snake, it causes the snake to metamorph into a larger size to where it starts attacking and preying on people. And as it does that, they continue to grow. And the thing is that there's a cop in Baltimore, Maryland, that's trying to solve this case on first initial murder. And then they find out that they're dealing with something much bigger than what they anticipated. But there is one individual that came in contact with it back in 1939, because it covers 3 periods: ancient Egypt, 1939, and present day 1996. So it's an interesting book. It's has a lot of information in there. It got some jokes, laughter. It has a lot of frightening parts in there. It's got a lot of slashing and cutting up in there. So hopefully, if you're interested, you guys go out there and check it out and enjoy it.
Yeah, I got my copy already. I just haven't had a chance to get to it, Neil. But that's next on the list. You know, and contrary to what some of y'all out there believe, yeah, I do read.
You just look like that. Huh?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, Neil, I got a question there. What inspired this book, man? I mean, because you talking about along the lines of Jurassic Park. You know, where did this come from? Were you just into this type of stuff coming up?
Well, back when I was in high school, I was in this class, commercial art class. Me and a friend of mine, we always talked about making movies, and our genre was horror movies. So we were talking about that since I was 16, 17 years old. So as I got older and started reading more and more horror novels, particularly Stephen King, because this book here is kind of motivated based on the concept that Stephen King did with the Green Mile. That's why it's broken into a 3-part series. So reading some of Stephen King stuff and some other horror novels, and I'm like, if these guys can do that, I'm pretty sure I can probably do this too. So I just went from that aspect. And the best thing to do is write about people and things that you know about. So a lot of characters in this book, a lot of my family members and friends will see some names pop up that they're familiar with. It might not even be their own name. So, and then, like I said, it's located in Baltimore, and being from Baltimore, most of my stories are going to be centered around Baltimore. So I'm using a similar formula as Stephen King because he's from Maine, and all his books are formulated in the area of Maine. So Well, like I said, we were always interested in it. So 25 years ago, I just came up with the idea when I was sitting in the what do you call it, science class, and they were talking about cloud herding, and I just thought about what can I do with that idea, and I just came up with this concept.
I know that's a real thing, though, right?
Oh yeah,
that's a real thing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And then you have some people that on the conspiracy side think that when the airplanes fly above, or what do they call it, the clouds,
those streaks.
Right? Yeah.
Well, you know, Neil, weren't you in the Air Force, Neil?
20 years.
So you know something, little something about that, right?
Hey man,
I
ain't been it, ain't in it. You know what I'm
tell us he had to kill us. So you know what I mean?
Maybe Skills be at the crib in a minute. All right, so check the book out, y'all. Check the book out. We got Neil Nichols. Also with us is Guy Lang. He joined us before. We were supposed to be with us last week, but we had technical difficulties, so we couldn't get him.
Yeah, so, we kind of hijacked one of his topics last week.
Yeah. So
we had to apologize about that, man, but you know we had to keep it moving.
That's right. He understood. All right, so Guy, tell the folk a little something about yourself and what you into, or you know, the elevator version. What's up?
Solid. All right, here's the elevator pitch. Well, first, let me say thanks again for inviting me back to the show.
Well, you know, you're a regular.
That's right.
Yeah, listen, thanks for a second introduction. Like, that's love.
I'm about to say that.
So, I don't know if the audience is ready for what I'm into, but I will tell you a little bit about myself. So, you know, I'm Philly born and raised, Philly born and bred. I'm for the people. Everything is about the people, and I'm about the, you know, our folks in the revolution and reform and you know, criminal justice and a lot of systemic racism and you know, oppression, or you know, just oppressive systems in America that affect Black and brown people, and that's my passion, and that's what I do. But I'm into some other shit, but that's what I do. And you know, look, I'm just saying I'm happy to be here, and I want to cop a copy of Neil's book. Talking about that earlier. He was going to tell me how to get it. So, and I'm sure he's going to share that with everybody else. But yeah, so that's what I'm about.
Yeah, Neil, put that in the comments, and we'll scroll it across the screen and let everybody, you know, have some time to soak that in.
Right. And about that topic was cool. Y'all covered it, man. Y'all covered it from soup to nuts. I couldn't have said anything better.
Oh, we really wanted to have you. Matter of fact, we might at the end of the show we might go on that, you know, just to get your take on it. But yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I was flattered y'all used it. Good look.
Yeah,
that's what's
up. We talked about it beforehand, and we thought it was good. It was relevant, and actually, we talked about bringing it back this week. But we you know, like Nike said, we might have to say something, you know, a little later about it, you know, because it was a good one. And there was a lot of different other directions where we could have taken it. Just to give people a little heads up, we use a new software today. So if things look a little different, we're working it out now. So please be patient with us. I hope Terry doesn't hit any buttons and turn the whole thing off. But if
all right. You know who be doing that. Stace is the gremlin around here.
All right. So we're gonna move on with our topics. We're gonna get that started since we got four items I'm gonna throw out here. And Neil, we're gonna come to you first, since you're the guest. We're gonna let you choose. We got an issue that's in real hot right now. Steak 48. We got all money ain't good money. We got why are you single and being yourself. So Neil, where do you want to go, man?
Hey, the first topic I'm gonna jump on here is being yourself, being your individual self, and being on that role where you be your true self at all times. Not trying to, you know, what we like to say, perpetrate the fraud to make other folks feel comfortable around you. Those folks need to make themselves comfortable around you, not you making yourself comfortable for them to be around you.
Right.
So a lot of people are not living their true selves, and as Black people, it's particularly Black men, we got enough stress in our lives as it is to sit here and try to, you know, play a role of being something that we're not, and then have to deal with the decompression when you go home.
Right.
So
yeah. Well,
but it's kind of like, you know, being a Black person, and I've been that all my life, right? So
like Doug Williams, right?
Huh?
Like Doug Williams always been a Black quarterback, right?
Yeah, always been a Black quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, like, I think that, and this is just my experience, that's kind of ingrained in us, because we have to be, you have to be able to wear both of those costumes. Not even a costume, but you have to be able to. People expect you to look a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way, and then when you get around your own people where you're comfortable, it's the same thing. They expect you to speak a certain way, to dress a certain way, to act a certain way. So it's like that on both sides. Like, you have to be able to master both sides, right? But you should be able to. The problem of that is, like, you shouldn't have to cater to someone else's opinion about what you are. Like, you should be able to just be yourself, and everybody should be cool with that. You know what I mean? Like, each individual should be able to be themselves and be comfortable in their own skin.
But don't we all adjust the way we sound, the way we look? I mean, I guess I look at it this way also.
We do. We act one way in corporate, and we act one way when we home around our friends and family. You know what I mean? But we shouldn't. What I'm saying is, we shouldn't have to.
I mean, shouldn't we not though? Because I think that, almost like, put it this way: when you play ball, you put on a uniform and you act accordingly. You know, so I would think the same thing would apply no matter where you are. Now, I think the difference is if you feel like you're putting your principles to the side to fit in. I think that's one thing, but to slightly adjust the way you talk, the way you act. I mean, is there anything wrong with that? What do you think, Guy?
I think I think on two different things here. The first thing I think is, it's very important to always, regardless where you are or who you engaging with, or what activity you indulging in, to be yourself. I think it's always important to do that and not lose yourself or make yourself smaller so that other people are comfortable around you. But I also feel like that has to be tempered with your ability to step out of your comfort zone, right? Mm-hmm. And be uncomfortable in a different set of shoes at different times in order to enable growth, personal growth for yourself. Right. If you maintain that you have to be a certain way, which is yourself all the time, and that means I speak this way, I walk this way, I behave this way, and not allow yourself to step out of your comfort zone and experience things from a different perspective or a different angle, what you're doing is yourself a disservice, and you're removing yourself from potential of growth. That's just what I think about that in particular. But I do think it's one of the most important things is to always maintain the integrity of who you are and not compromise that, but always be willing to add a new wrinkle to it, add a new facet to it. And don't be afraid to step out of that comfort zone or that area that is your box and belongs to you, and step into another one so that you can experience growth. And, you know, growth is a hurt thing. It's painful. It's not comfortable. And I think that we have to allow ourselves to experience that growth by sometimes stepping out of who we are, and stepping, you know, in order sometimes to exhibit empathy. Sometimes you have to step out of yourself, because you haven't experienced that thing that other person is experiencing, and to lend any type of sometimes empathy, or just to walk with somebody down a road that is difficult for them, you may sometimes have to step out of yourself, because you will make a person uncomfortable at times, who may be experiencing something and trying to explain something to you, but because you can't step out of who you are, you can't accept what they're going through. And when you do that, you diminish, you know, what their struggle is or what their challenge is. So I think, you know, on both hands, you got to do the one, but you got to be ready to do the other two.
Right. Let me touch on that real quick. What Guy just said. Empathy is one thing. I can empathize with what your situation is, but it doesn't have to require me to go out of my character to be something different. So if I don't have empathy in the first place, I'm not going to show you any feelings or concern, and regardless. But I shouldn't have to create a new person to make you feel comfortable.
When
And
you
I
say
think one of the
I
things,
see what, yeah.
well, what do you
It's,
mean
it's
about
like
creating new people?
it's like a two-sided coin,
Let's
though.
walk
You know
this
what I
back a
mean?
little bit. I'm not a fan of creating a new person.
Right, that's what I'm trying to get at.
What I said was to allow a new wrinkle to be added to the person that you already are. And when I'm speaking of empathy from other people and the disqualification of another person's story, just take for instance, white supremacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got this person, this white male, this white female. They can't identify with who I am because of who they are, right? So this argument that I'm having, or this debate that I'm having with this person who is not of color, is not a black or brown person, and can't understand where I'm coming from because they can't step out of who they are, they run the risk of, number one, attempting to disqualify my position because they don't understand it because of their history, because of their story. And I think it's important for that person
Say that shit.
step out
That's
of who
right.
you are. Understand who I am. Don't disqualify what I say, right? Because your life experience tells you otherwise. You have to have empathy in the way of saying, okay, I can at the very least take a minute to step out of myself, understand who you are and what it is that you're trying to, what knowledge you're trying to pass on to me or what your feeling is on this subject without, being concrete in my experiences, because I know your experience is different.
Right.
The other thing I think is that
Neil,
there has to be.
Neil, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
okay. There has to be societal norms. I mean, because we all coexist. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different ways to talk, different ways to speak. So when we come together in the middle, in the town square, there has to be societal norms. And I think that's kind of what God's saying. I mean, when you're in that town square with everyone else, you have to subdue a part of yourself in order to be a part of the whole, and go ahead, Nike.
Okay, but like, do other people do that? You know what I'm saying? Do other people?
I think so. Yeah. Do you really
for instance, take a white person.
Mm-hmm.
Does a white person act differently when he's around other white people than he does when he's at?
Yeah. Do you really think that we're hearing the way white folk talk amongst themselves? Do you really think that we're hearing all of that? No,
we're not hearing that.
Right, exactly.
Right,
So
yeah, no, we're not hearing that.
It's bleeding out though.
I mean, a lot of it is bleeding out. But if that was the case, then the prior president wouldn't have won. The reason why he won is because we thought that we were really a little further along, but we realize now where we thought we were, we're not, because the prior president brought those things out into the forefront, and people agreed with it, and they voted for him. Right. So I think that when it comes to coming together, like I said, using the analogy in the town square, meaning where everybody's going to be together, whether it's the workplace or any place in public, we have to be able to subdue a part of ourselves in order to navigate everything. You know what I mean?
As long as it doesn't go too far, right?
Agreed.
Because like look at my appearance, right? Some people judge my appearance when they see me because they don't know anything about me, right?
Right.
So should I conform to what they think I should be as far as my appearance?
No,
or do they get what they get, even though the package is what it is? You know what I'm saying?
Well, but
this is the package, and I'm not willing to change my package because the stuff that's what's inside the package is worth
what
more
you should pay attention to.
Right, but it's worth more than somebody else trying to change it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
agreed. But again, if you're using the analogy of a let's say a basketball player, the basketball player might wear skinny jeans when he's at home, but when he goes to work, he puts on a uniform as everyone else does. So I think to a certain extent, you still have to be able to put on that uniform to.
This is my uniform when I go to work.
Yeah, see, but you're different. Like you work from home.
Hey,
but my point is that.
I'm just saying.
Hey, Stacey, can I touch on what you just said? There's two things you just said. You said when a basketball player goes to play basketball, they may normally wear skinny jeans, but then they got to wear the shorts like everybody else.
Right.
I'm going to use an example on that analogy you just used. Michael Jordan came into the NBA.
Right.
He wore the little short shorts that everybody was
Right.
wearing. Then all of a sudden he said, "No, I'm gonna change this up," and he started wearing these big baggy shorts.
Right.
Everybody's wearing the baggy shorts now.
True.
And to go back to your analogy about the town square, when you say that you have to adjust and adapt to what everybody else is doing, based on who sets the rules, because
Right,
it's not going to
exactly.
be our rules. It's going to be the power that be's rules. So
And then you won't have any individuality.
I
Like,
understand
Exactly.
that. I do understand that, and I think that it's if we take it to the extreme, then I agree with that. But
we're not
Well, you-
clones, we're not robots. Like everybody has their own
you still
individual
have to,
flavor.
but Nike, but you still have to be able to coexist. So if you're doing something that's just completely out in left field, you might not be able to do that when you're out, when you're amongst everyone. We all, because we
that's
all have
not-
to live
you-
together.
See, you taking one extreme, like you're like taking you going to the extreme. I'm talking about just being a normal person. Everybody has their own individual flavor. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like my flavor is different from God's flavor. God's flavor is different from your flavor. Your
Correct.
flavor is different from Neil's flavor. We shouldn't have to adjust who we are just to exist in society. And I think that's what Neil's was trying to relay. Like we should have the freedom to be who we are. And like when you say like, you can't go all the way over here left with it.
Right.
Well, yeah, if that's your personality, then
It might not
you know what I mean? As long as you're not offending anybody, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
That's my point. I
as
think it can. Sometimes it can be viewed as offensive. Sometimes
By
think.
who though?
I mean, I guess by the masses, by everyone else. Okay.
So if I wear locks in my hair,
See, but
I wear
hair
locks
is
in my
different,
hair.
like, hair is different. I don't know. I don't think that hair. Anybody's gonna look at your hair and say it's offensive. Will they say it's?
They will.
Some say
They
it's
will.
not professional.
They will, though, Stace, because in the military for a long time, black women couldn't wear their hair in cornrows. They had to wear wigs and stuff like that, or they had to take their hair out and put it in the perm.
But
My
no one
sister-
said it was offensive, though. Did they say it was offensive, or it wasn't professional, or wasn't?
Stace, you hear about the little boy?
Wasn't based on
You hear
who's
about the boy
individual
wrestler who
decision
had to have his hair
professionalism.
I
before
heard
he could
about that.
wrestle?
You
They
know
made
what?
him cut his locks off.
And
What?
I responded to that.
Does that have anything to do? Wait. But for what? That had nothing to do with his athletic ability, or had anything to do that gave him an advantage or disadvantage in that wrestling match.
Guy, what are your thoughts, man? Because I think I'm kind of saying sort of what Guy was saying. What do you think, Guy?
I think in instances of your particular person, I'm not a fan of losing my identity to please the masses.
Right.
I'm not a fan of losing myself, like I said.
Now, losing is a strong word, though, Guy. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not saying losing. I'm saying adjust, not losing. That's.
I think that listen. You have to. In life, you have to adjust at times.
You have to adjust, right?
I know I can apply. that to
Adjusting
my
is one
life.
thing. I think we're getting adjusting and conforming
No,
a little bit mixed
no.
up.
Go ahead, Guy. What were you about to say? Finish that thought.
I was going to say, in my new career, right? The career that I'm working on now, that I'm crafting, that I'm developing, there's no way that I could speak in certain circles the way I've spoken in any circle up until I started my new career.
Right.
There's a different language, and there's different verbiage. There's a different command of the English language. There's a different understanding of language, right? So
Right.
you in order just to survive in that profession, you have to conform, right? You have to make an adjustment. So in some areas, you don't have a choice. I don't care who you are, what you say. If you want to be successful in certain areas, there is some conformity that has to happen, right? But as far as with the, and that's in a group setting, right? Or even a one-on-one setting at times. But I don't think that you have to lose yourself in that in that group or in that whole of people. I won't prescribe to the notion that you still have
Lose
some
yourself.
individuality.
But to adjust is different. You know, Pat said, "Yep, it's different with my friends than at work." And I think that right here on the screen now, and that's what I'm saying. I think, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that we all have to do that. And again, I think that there's a difference between losing yourself and adjusting, or even, and it's a strong word, but even conforming. I think to a certain sense, to a certain aspect, we all conform.
Hey,
Because we all have to.
I guess the question is, should we have to? Like, should we have to? Like, why can't people just be individuals as long as they're not committing any offenses, you know, to someone else? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, look at Russell Simmons. He's made, like, he's done shows, movies, TV, radio, all this stuff, and he won't wear a suit.
But that's different, Knight, because he's
Why
in
is it
entertainment. Well, because he's in entertainment, so he first of all, he can afford to do.
You think he's not in business meeting with attorneys and
see? But the Knight. Well, but there's a difference though, because 9 times out of 10 in that room where he is, he's probably, as we talked about before, he's probably the alpha. So he's the one,
alpha male,
right? He's an alpha male without even having to say it. So he can do that. You know what I mean? I think actors and those kind of artists, those people can do that. They, you know, it's a little different. What were you about to say, Neil?
Real quick, y'all remember the guy Stu? What was his name on ESPN? From ESPN.
Stuart Scott.
Oh, Scott.
Stuart Scott. Now, Stuart Scott was on ESPN. Now, you seen, you had all the rest of the commentators. Hey, this is what happened in basketball. This is what happened in golf. Stuart Scott came on. I'm sitting there watching ESPN. This guy talking about booyah. He shot it from the corner. He's on the road. Like he's like a butter on the roll. I was like, what is this brother doing?
Yeah, cooler than the other side of the pillow. Right.
And then soon after he started doing all that stuff,
everybody did.
All the rest of them started copying him.
He changed the whole culture of ESPN. He did.
And I think that can happen. I mean, that can happen. You know, that can happen. But again, I still think that you still, and to use it to use God's term, I think in order for us to navigate successfully in society, we have to be able to adjust. We have to be able to, and I hate to use the word, but you know, as they say, when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do. I mean, there is a part of that you know you have to be able to. If you're bringing somebody in to apply for a position in a job. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, that's different. You're bringing somebody in to apply for the job. You're gonna tell them, no, don't come in here with your Timbs on and your white beater. No, I need you to wear a button up and a pair of khakis, right? Or you're gonna tell them, no, go. You need to be able to be yourself. Wear your Timbs. I mean, no, you need to be able to. You need to be able to conform. You need to be able to do that. Put that uniform on. Then once the interview is over, you go home. You put your Timbs on and you rock out the way you normally would. No, am I wrong
that's
on
what
that?
I was saying when I first started. You know what I mean? You have to. It's like you have to be able, as a black person, you have to be able to master.
That's right.
You have to be able to navigate both worlds. Like it's like a dual citizenship. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? But
I don't think it's just.
But I'm saying it shouldn't have to be that way.
Well, let me give you an example. How about this? All right, so I deal with Stacy, right? Stacy and I work together on things outside of Real Brothers Live, right? And it's on a professional level, right? I know Stacy personally, but when Stacy and I have discussions that are professional, we talk the way we normally talk, right? We keep it a bean. Like that's the way we communicate. And it's effective, right? And it's not offensive. However, when I have to communicate the needs of maybe specific people in a different area, I can't communicate that way. I can't talk to folks the same way that I can, and I'm being professional when I'm talking to Stacy, right? and I'm being professional when I'm speaking to other folks, but I know.
But it's just that, like I said, you have to have that dual citizenship.
I think that adds value to you as a person when you have an ability
right.
to be able to, you know, move around through society without hiccups, without, you know, when you have, you know, just a strong enough command over your area of life, and you can bring it to different. You bring value. You add value to yourself when you can do that, is what I think.
You going back to my analogy, how much stronger will you be to have 4 or 5 different uniforms, and you could change them up depending on the company where you are. You know what I mean? Company as far as people. You know, like Guy said. I mean, and I agree with you, Nike. Should you have to? Probably not.
Yeah, so like that's the thing. That's one of the reasons I don't have a lot of friends, right? Exactly what you said right there. Like, I'm not the type of person that is. I don't know if it's a personality defect that I have, or because I have a few. You know what I mean? But I'm not willing to
totally
really give a shit about somebody else's opinion of me. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's a detriment to me, you know, not getting far in life, but that's for me to be able to be in certain circles. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I'm not trying to impress any. As you can see, I'm not trying to impress nobody. I'm not trying to, you know, conform to nobody else's opinion of me. I'm just trying to be me, man. And like, if that's not good enough for whoever, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know, you ever like me or you don't, you know what I mean? And I'm not willing to change myself in order to make you like me. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I agree with you, Nike. Listen, I agree. I say this though. I agree with you 100%, Nike. But I say this though. When I agree with you 100%. I think that when we got on this topic, what we were actually putting out there was actually putting on fronts, not necessarily not being true to yourself. But I think the topic was actually about putting on fronts, like like, you know, putting something out there that ain't you. Like suppose I'm dating somebody and I'm trying to get the yams. I'm trying to get the clap, right? Right? I'm just saying, right?
My man.
Now you listen. I hope I don't offend any of the married folks or anything like that.
This
is just an example. This ain't, you know, I'm not running around all over the city trying to get the yams from everybody.
That's what it is. It is what it is.
But what I'm saying is, suppose there is somebody that I'm trying. Let me be a little more.
No, man, keep it up 100. This is real brothers. This is real brothers, bro. This is real brothers.
Suppose that's
how you would say in the barbershop.
My objective. My objective is to get the yams, right? So, in this instance, if I'm not, if I at that point start fronting, putting on airs or not being genuine, that's the disingenuine person that we're talking about. Right. So I think somebody like that, not necessarily somebody that's looking to make progress in their career or in their personal life, but somebody, a scammer, you know what I mean? Somebody that's just, I'm trying to get as much ass and not as many holes in my little belt as I possibly can over a short period of time, you know, all these trophies, you know what I'm saying? So I think what we're talking about was, you know, if you have to be disingenuine to for personal gain in a way that actually affects it or impacts somebody else negatively, then yeah, you're a piece of shit for that, right? But what you're doing is, if you're working towards a goal with people and you have to slide into a different environment in order to get into that environment, you need a different key to hit that lock. Fucking hit that lock. You know what I'm saying? That's the key. That's what you got to do.
In that instance, it is justify the means. You know, you got to do, because you set the parameters up saying the goal is to win. So if I need to adjust a little bit to win, then I'm gonna make that adjustment. You know what I mean? Now, again, we're not talking about totally becoming somebody different, putting on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta be careful about that, and that's what that's gonna lead us. That's a good segue into our next topic. Like, because all money, when you just
all
said
money
like
ain't good money, right?
you going change what you have to change in order to become successful,
right?
Then you might if you have that, if you think like that too much, you could turn into like shucking and jiving and and Uncle Tom and all that, just to get ahead and like, so you got to be, that's kind of like a slippery slope, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so remember we was laughing, we were saying like, so if somebody was like, oh yeah, so if we gonna give y'all a certain amount of money, but y'all got to start doing XYZ, and XYZ is like, have us looking like, Brian Gumble or somebody, not, or like, not, no offense to Brian Gumble, that's not, it was, but I'm, what I'm saying, like,
but okay, using him as an example, Brian Gumble. I mean, I think back then, everyone said, okay, he acts like a white guy, but I think now we're at a different point because that doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? Acting white, you know what I mean? No, that was the way he spoke. So if that was the way he spoke, and you didn't hear him using slang and things like that, I mean, what was wrong with Brian Gumble? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I don't have no problem. That was just the quickest example that I could think of. But you know what I mean when I'm saying shucking and jiving, always showing your teeth. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like Ben Carson. All right, Ben Carson. How about we take him for example? You know what I mean? So it sometimes too much change comes with a price. And like we was about to say one of our topics.
How do we know that he changed though, Knight? How do we know that Ben Carson changed who he was? That might have been his position from the beginning, but we only knew him as a successful surgeon. So maybe that was him. Maybe he was always a hardcore conservative. And then when he got chosen to put in that position, we just heard about it. We don't know that he changed.
Yeah, so you don't have any examples of like step and fetch it or you know what I mean, shucking and jiving. You don't know any examples of that.
Let's back up for a minute. This came about because we were talking about how someone we knew was hanging out with somebody that was, let's just say a billionaire.
Yo, come on.
No. We're not using names. We're talking about somebody that had a lot of money. So then the question became, do you put that person to the side because you disagree with their thought process, or where was the line to say that maybe I can get something from this person to further my agenda? So then the question became, all money ain't good money. Okay, where is that line? You know what I mean? Where is it? If you can.
But that's what I'm asking. Where is the line?
Right.
Like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, what, nobody give you money for nothing, right? So what do you have? It depends on what has to be done for that money.
Get that money, right?
You feel me?
Go ahead, Knight.
If a person don't have your best interest at heart, but they willing to give you money to do something,
right?
You know what I mean? Are you taking that money?
Take the money, right? What do you think, Guy?
It depends on the compromise. And you are 100% right. As far as money is corruptible. That money will corrupt the person, right?
Absolutely. Money corrupts absolutely.
Power will corrupt you, right? So I think this whole part of the topic that we're talking about requires a person that answer the question to be self-aware. And when I say self-aware, I mean, if you know who you are,
know your line.
What the limit is.
Right,
you know how far you're willing to go. You know what it is to be sold out or to sell out, right?
That's right.
So if you are self-aware and self-aware, not self-conscious, but if you're self-aware and if you're conscious of yourself, right, then you can draw that line more effectively. However, if you're not self-aware, I think the closer you get to that line, the more blurry that line becomes. And until you can, you know, actually set boundaries for yourself when it comes to that, because you know how far you're willing to go, that's when you know what money is good money and what money is not. But until you reach that point to find out, you know, how far you're willing to go for $1, that's when you really find out what money is good and what money is not.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that, Neil?
Yeah.
Well, it's a what your moral standards are for yourself. I mean, you can't look yourself in the mirror every day. When you step out that door, you know what you're doing is not right. I mean, like the whole thing, no money, all money is not good money. But some people just like, I don't care, because they don't have no moral compass on what they're doing. All they're chasing is the dollars. The dollars are going to bring them happiness, but we all know money's not going to bring you happiness, because if it did, you wouldn't have all these rich people killing themselves.
Right.
All right. Let me ask you this. Let's just say hypothetically, you have in your goal to build up a playground in the middle of North Philly, right? You want to build, and that playground is going to cost you $10 million. I'm coming to you, Knight. We're going to move it around.
All right.
That playground is going to cost you $10 million. Donald Trump says, I need you to wear a MAGA hat and I'll give you the money. Do you do it?
Nope.
God, do you do it?
Fuck out of here.
All right, Neil, do you do it?
No, sir.
I got the hat on.
Do it.
Yeah.
Right, I'm doing it.
I got the hat on.
Let me ask you a question, Stace. All right, let me ask you a
Hold
question.
on, let me
Wait, no.
say why. I got
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm sucking, I'm jiving, I'm sucking. Yo, this.
Wow, my
No,
nigga.
I'm joking on that.
Wow.
I'm joking on that. Oh, somebody said hell
Wow.
no. Somebody,
My dude right there. That's my man.
Okay. This is what I'm saying about that. Now listen. This is what I'm saying. Depending on what the goal is, if my goal if my goal is going to be so impactful to the neighborhood that all I have to do is wear that MAGA hat, and I'll go back to what you said, Guy. I know me, and anyone else that knows me, any of you on this thing right now are going to say, Stace, that hat was ugly, but I know why you did it.
No,
So
I'll be like, damn, man, you fucking up.
hey, let me touch something on that.
All right, go ahead, Neil.
Now, we heard about what's the guy named Scott, the senator from South Carolina, where he said that America wasn't, and this kind of goes with what you're just saying, Stacey.
Talking about the senator
from South Carolina, Tim Scott. He said that America is not racist. And right?
He said it, Biden said it, and so did Kamala Harris say it.
Right.
No,
Now, let's go back to that. Why didn't, because people say, why would Kamala Harris say America is not racist when she knows that America is racist?
But they didn't. I heard. Go ahead.
Why they didn't, politically wise, it would kill them. It was set up by Tim Scott to say America's not racist, so all the Democrats can come out and say America is racist, and then people won't vote for them.
No, they gave a speech.
Same game you just played.
No, those two, Kamala, vice president and then president, gave a speech, and they were talking. I think it was around the time that they passed that anti-Asian violence. And they said that this country is racist. They talked about.
They said it was not racist. I don't know what part you're saying. States, they both said it is. It's not racist.
It's not racist.
Let me tell you. All right, let me give you their responses. Their reply. Here's what they said on the interview. Now I didn't see the interview with Kamala Harris, but I did see her response. I did see the entire interview with Biden, right? And what he said was, the question was, do you believe that America is racist? The first word out of Joe Biden's mouth, you can rewatch it. The first word that he said was no. What he said after that was qualifying that no. He said, okay. No, he said no, and this, this, and this, and this.
So
and
in content, so in content, like you said, Guy, I didn't hear what he's. I didn't hear that part either. But what he said after that, he qualified it. So therefore, are you saying that what he said after that could have further explained, when you put it in content, further explain his response to the initial question? Is that what you're saying?
That's what he was attempting to do, in my mind. See, All right. The question was a closed. It was a closed answer. It was a closed answer question, right? The question was a yes or no question. The question was, do you believe that racism exists in America?
That's different. That's a different question.
No, that's the question that he asked. That's the question that was asked of him. Do you believe that racism exists in America? Because that's the question that was posed to Scott. That's the question that was posed to Harris. And the first word that came out of his mouth, I challenge anybody that's watching this podcast or any of you gentlemen to watch his response. His response was no. And then he added some fluff and shit behind it to prop that no up and explain that no, but his answer was no.
Okay. Now somebody
let me ask you a question, Stace. So
go ahead,
if you had a let's go back to that same playground, right? And
yeah, I got a question for Stacey on that playground.
That same playground, right?
Y'all know
a KKK member said, a KKK member said, you know what? We give you this money for this playground, that 10 million, but you have to spread our literature, or you have to do a favor for them.
I wouldn't do that. I think the difference is, like, you talking about spreading literature. Now you're talking about
or anything for them.
It depends on what it is. Like, again, if you say it, I said the right. If they say you have to put a hat on the hat, KKK on it, and we'll build that playground in the middle of the city. I don't know, man. I mean, that's a little different. Okay, Guy, what was your question?
Money, man. Nah.
Go ahead, Guy.
It got to be deeper than money, man.
I just wanted to kind of flesh out what you were saying when you said that you would wear the MAGA hat. Do you think that wearing that MAGA hat would be, even though it benefits the community with regards to building this recreation center or playground, whatever it is, it could be anything. It could be a 100-story building with 300 units for the elderly. I wouldn't care.
Right.
But do you believe that putting that hat on and building whatever that structure is short-sighted, or do you believe that because you think that over the long term you've accomplished this thing here? But what did you set up for the future? What's the end game? If that's the end game, then yeah, you know what? You've accomplished your goal that you set out to do.
Yeah, that's it. I think when you were talking, that's where I'm going with it. I'll take the bullets of somebody saying State's a sellout, but look at what he did. Look at what the community now has. Using that example, Guy, I'll take the bullets of people say and that's what I'm saying. And it goes back to our previous conversation. I don't care what people say about me. If I know what I'm doing, and if the decisions that I'm making and the things that I'm doing are for the right reason. I'm not talking about putting money in my pocket, but if I can build that high-rise building for housing for people in need and things like that, I'll take all the arrows of people pointing at me saying Stacey's a sellout, because I don't care about that.
So you would join if you had the option, you would join the Republican Party in order to get that playground or that rec center built.
Joining the Republican Party, absolutely.
I would.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying, Knight.
Yeah, that's different.
Go ahead,
joining the Republican Party and wearing that
MAGA hat,
American gray hat is different. But look,
I'm saying if you join the Republican Party, that's what you a Trump. You following Trump?
No, because you don't have to vote.
I can vote. I can vote a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know what happens goes on in the booth. But look, Stacey, you have children?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're wearing the MAGA hat to get $10 million, right? And then I'm just going to say your child, 10 years old, look up at you and say, "Hey, Dad, you wore the MAGA hat to get the $10 million. So do I have to do the same type of thing when I'm your age to get something for the community? I'm going to have to give a little piece of myself away to make the community better. Because basically what you're doing is you're going to be setting the future up for the kids to say, well, I'm going to have to compromise myself a little bit to get something.
But I think the difference is, though, wearing that MAGA hat for that end result, I wouldn't look at I wouldn't say that I'm compromising myself, because I'm doing now. Okay, I guess if you're saying if it wasn't for that reason, would I wear the MAGA hat? No, I wouldn't. So I guess if that's what you're saying, that is compromising myself.
That is a compromise, right?
I'm pretty sure they asked Martin Luther King, "Hey, if you do this, we'll pay you X amount of dollars. But he didn't compromise himself because he basically died.
Let me ask you this then. So do you think if they would have came to King and said, and this is a hypothetical, of course, so we don't know the answer to this.
Right.
If they would have come to him and said, we'll end what something he was fighting for. We'll end
segregation.
We'll end segregation if you vote for LBJ versus LBJ signed it. Well, whatever. You become a Republican. Do you think that King would have said,
if you come and meet me in the back or something like that?
Who?
No, never mind.
I don't know. Yeah, you took it. Yeah, I knew it was gonna come out eventually. The back,
my back, Terry.
Yeah, what about my back?
Somebody gonna be like, you better not talk about Martin Luther King like that.
No. My question is, do you think that King was so focused on the bigger picture that he would have done something like that, or say, no, I don't even want to be seen with the MAGA hat on. Keep segregation going because I don't want to wear that hat because the way it looks. What do you think, guys?
Not the way it looks because of what it represents.
But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the way it looks. Okay, what it represents.
Listen, here's what I think. I think in any negotiation, there's a requirement of a compromise. In any negotiation, there's going to be you have to compromise, right? Now, what the compromise is, if you're willing to compromise yourself, your person, hey, it is what it is. And if you're not and you're incorruptible, right, then you stand for something, then you may stand to lose something. But that thing that you're stand to lose, when you stack that up against who you are as a person, is there that much value in it? In my life, and I'll say this now, and it'll hold me down forever and ever, amen, I will never compromise myself personally for any initiative other than what benefits Black people of color.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's the only thing I'll ever, but my compromise will not be one. All right, so when you said the MAGA, right, that holds something different for me because MAGA actually stands for something. Make America great again.
Right, that's not just a fashion statement. That has a different meaning. Like,
my point
is.
But I think, and we're gonna move on after this. We'll let everybody say. I don't want to just be the last one to make an appointment. But the way that I view it is that if the end result, I'm so focused on the end result that again, I'll take the slings and arrows, somebody pointing at me talking about what I did. If the end result gets the desired result for the whole, which goes along to what God said. Because to me, people pointing at me talking about, yes, Stace, we have a picture of you with the hat on, but I could point to the success or what I got from it. I'm willing to do it. All right, Neil. Next question. Where you want to go? Steak 48 or why are you single? Which one?
Steak 48.
Steak 48. All right. So now, Neil, you familiar with this whole thing, right? You want to enlighten everyone on what we're talking about with this.
Well, from my knowledge of what's going on with the situation, they put in a dress code. And not only they had a dress code, but you have to be able to purchase your ticket. It has to be at least $100
per person.
So I don't know how. I'm assuming that the menu items must be very expensive because if I'm only getting a couple of entrees, how am I getting to up $100? So.
Well, I don't think you're gonna be sitting there eating strip cocktail. I mean, I'm assuming that they have a.
Well, if it's $100 a person. I don't think I'm not gonna be eating there anyway because that's out of my price range.
Right. Me either.
Right. $100 that should be covering like 4 people in my group.
Yeah.
Right. But do you think what are your thoughts on the fact that they did that they have a dress code and they have that minimum? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the bottom line is they're trying to keep the haves and the have-nots separated. So the folks that have the money to get in there, that's what they want. They want the high rollers, the people that got the big pockets, and the folks that what they consider less desirable, they don't want them there. However, what the backside of that could be is that you can have some undesirables that have, the money to be able to get in there, and they can still come in there and infiltrate the place. But they're right. So their goal is
It's like bugs.
yeah, their goal is just to have a high quality clientele. But like it goes back to what we just talking about. All money ain't good money, because just because you got the people that's gonna pay for these meals doesn't mean that you're getting the best people in that place of business.
True.
Right.
What do you think, Knight?
About Steak 48?
Yeah, that whole thing.
Like, I mean, I think it's, specifically to keep people out, you know what I mean? To keep certain clientele out. And I'm not sure if it's I don't even think that's a racial thing. I think that's more of a
social status,
a economic poverty. That's a anti poverty type of situation. Like you want to make your prices so high where normal people who work every day, can't afford to come to your establishment. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
so what?
No, go ahead. All right, guy, what are your thoughts, man?
Personally, I don't have a problem with Steak 48.
You sound like you've been there, guy. You like, nah, more me. You like,
been there. How many times you been to Steak 48? Yeah, I know how you be balling.
Listen. All right, so there's places in the city, plenty of them, that have dress codes and have a minimum, $1 minimum, right? The rooftop bar, I sat up there last year in February, right? There for a table on the roof is $1,000 to sit down with your group, right? There's a minimum that we was scrambling to buy everything we could because we couldn't eat that much. It was only 6 of us there, right? But we knew what the bill was, and we knew we wanted to go there, and that's where we wanted to, not necessarily to eat, right, and chill and hang out and have a good time. But I never gave it a thought of, as an exclusionary rule, right? I think it can be considered an exclusionary rule, but I think proprietors and business owners should enjoy the right to exclude if they choose, right?
What they call it, exclusivity.
But not based on race, not based on
delicate line,
not based on not based on sex, gender, or sexual preference. It should be based on like the dress code. If you can't put on a pair of shoes to go into this restaurant, then go to the one down the street.
Right.
But let me ask you something, guy. How was the food? Was it better than you could have got at a restaurant that charged like $25, $30 a plate?
You know what though? I'll say this. Now,
atmosphere is what we paid for.
That's a big difference.
We wasn't paying for the food. I wasn't going there. I went there. Matter of fact, I didn't even go there for dinner.
You said hang out.
The last time I went there, it was like 10 o'clock at night when I got there, and I was just staying for the atmosphere and for the drinks and just to hang out and chill. But as far as the food goes, there's 100 places in the city that I could have gone to have a better meal if I was looking for a meal, and it would have been a lot less expensive. And this isn't a dig at that restaurant, right? They're just saying that's not what I went there for. I went there for something totally different.
Right.
So now, I will say this though. In some of those, and I've never been to Steak 48, so I'm not even talking about that. But I do agree with Guy. I think as a business owner, if they want to have certain limits and require certain things or certain dress codes or what have you, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And a lot of times, and it is true, a lot of times you get what you pay for. When you go to a steakhouse and you want a nice, well-cooked, well-served steak, you're probably not going to get that from Denny's. You know what I mean? There is a difference. Sometimes, you get a certain quality of meat and it does make a difference. They have certain chefs that are there preparing that food, and it's a completely different experience than, like I said, going to the buffet.
So let me run this by you. Okay, so for folks who think that it's specifically exclusionary, right? I think we've all been to a nightclub at some point in time in our lives.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the VIP section, or you want bottle service, or you want one of those tables just for a reservation at one of those tables is a couple $100.
That's right.
Nobody bitched and complained about that. Right. Nobody say a word about that. And that.
But the difference is on that guy, they're not excluding people from coming into the club.
They're not.
They're You know what
The
I'm saying?
restaurant didn't either though, Nike. The restaurant
But
just said
so
that
everybody has access. So
it's the
it's
same thing
not.
with the restaurant though. Nike, all you had to do is every person had to spend $100, and there was a dress code. If you wore the shoes and you were willing to spend $100 per person, they didn't say black folk couldn't come or
That's
anyone
what I
couldn't
said.
come.
No, I never said it was racist. I just said it was not.
Exclusive.
It was exclusionary financially.
I got here's a question we got to think about. We had a lot of thousandaires recently, right?
Right.
You got these folks getting their stimulus checks.
That's
You
right.
got folks getting their tax return. You got
right.
people getting their unemployment. So when you're getting all this money, they're gonna say, "Hey, let's go to some places where we didn't never normally go."
And I think that's
And
what
maybe
happened.
State 48 is saying, "Hey, we're gonna cut that off right now.
Right.
Yeah,
I ain't coming in here."
See, but you know what though? And come on, y'all. All right, keep it real. Keep it real. We all know niggas. We all know. Come on now. We all know. We all know.
I know you ain't go there.
No. Sometimes you let them in, and now what are we doing? I'm not going back. Now they want to fight on the airplane. Yeah, I mean, you know, come on, y'all. Am I wrong? Am I
No,
wrong?
you
God.
ain't wrong. Hey,
God,
we
come
keeping
on,
it
God.
real. You ain't
Come on,
wrong.
Listen. What I think about that is when you're talking about a whole class, a whole group of people who've been excluded from traditional norms in society for generations, for hundreds of years, for 402 years, you give folks an opportunity to, enjoy a certain privilege. Fuck it, let them enjoy that privilege. Let them come in there with their fucking jeans on or whatever. See, the reason why is because here's what society does to us, right? Here's what society does to us. They don't like our black men wearing their jeans half down their ass. They don't like us speaking the way we speak. They don't like the music that we play. They don't like the movies that, but they appropriate it at every fucking turn. So why should we allow this establishment to appropriate everything about us culturally, but then exclude us from their fucking establishment?
But go back to your example though. Okay, when we were open though, we did the same thing. You couldn't wear Timbs in it. You couldn't wear Timbs. You had to wear a button up. You couldn't wear sweatsuits. We required certain things. And again, we weren't excluding anyone, but as we know, and my mother used to say it, you act the way you dress. I act completely different when I got my jeans on and my Timbs on versus when I got a suit on. Right. I mean, so we weren't excluding anyone.
Right.
But we're saying if you want to come here, we want to have a certain thing. And furthermore, Guy, when we did our events, when we required shoes and slacks, etc., had we let all the Timbs go come in, you know what would have happened? The ones that would you say, Knight?
You would have made more money.
How long would that have lasted though? Because then the people that came in there dressed that way, they would have left and never came back.
No, hey, listen, Stace, I'm all for rules and I'm all for businesses making their own policy.
Whoever somebody said true that.
Well, my thing is if the rule was made to specifically be exclusionary of black and brown people.
I agree with that, Guy.
Then that's wrong. Then this is what I say. Don't play our fucking music through your intercom system while these good folks is eating these fucking meals, right? And I'm saying whatever it is that you use to entertain these people at these establishments, don't use us. If the rule was made to be exclusionary, but if the rule was made just because that's the clientele that I want in my establishment, I'm all for it. Do you think?
Right. I think it depends on what the actual
purpose of it. Yeah, right. I mean,
reasoning is behind it. Right.
The State 48 wasn't. They didn't again, like we all said though.
Ones to do that. This has been done for decades.
Absolutely.
This ain't
absolutely. You're not going into a nice steakhouse with a pair of Timbs on. It's just not going to happen.
Let me throw this out there. If Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, or Warren Buffett rolled up in your establishment with some Timbs on, you're not going to let them in?
Oh, they getting in. You know they
exactly.
Exactly. That's different.
Exactly.
That's different.
That's one way to prove what the intent of that policy is.
Well, see, you said there's one way to prove it, though. All right. We're going to move on. It's 9:04.
But wait, what
I wanna
about the
get
woman that Adam Sandler? They shouldn't let Adam Sandler into her restaurant.
Absolutely. In the pop, I mean, what was that? The breakfast joint.
Right. So they
No,
were
no,
true to their
See, no,
policy.
see,
They were
no.
like, no, we don't give a shit who you are.
No,
You
they.
ain't
It's
getting
not
in
that
here.
they wouldn't let him in. They
Who?
wouldn't
The
bump
wait
him
list
ahead.
and
They
shit
said
like
it was a
that.
30-minute
Yeah.
waiting list.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, so if he was to go to that establishment with his sneakers or his Timbs on or something like that, and they turned him away, then I you know what, I could respect their policy. But if he was to go there dressed the way that they say not to dress, then I would say, you know what, I understand what your policy is about, and it's not about inclusion. It's more about exclusion.
Right.
Right. All right.
What
We
was
got
you
next.
about to say, Neil? Did you get your last point out?
Yeah, well, I was going to just say all that money is green, so it don't really matter.
Oh yeah.
Well, it does matter though. It does matter. Somebody like Bill Gates, you can let him in, but them other ones, you can let him in and say, well, yeah, but that's Bill Gates, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, we all gonna do it. All right. It looks like, because it's 9:05 now. It looks like the last topic is gonna be, was it? Oh no, here we go. We're gonna start with Guy. Why are you single? Why are you single?
I'm gonna put it in the thing.
All right. Why are you single?
Yeah. So that's
well. First of all, where did this come from? Or why are we? Why? Where did this? Where did this topic come from?
Well, I know. Me personally, I've been asked that question a million times, right? Because of the length of time that I've been single. I've been single for a long time, for shit that you can count it in decades, pretty much, bro. And just about every woman that I meet, whether it be professionally, personally, a business relationship, whatever it is, whether that person's attracted to me or not, or there's potential for something or not, I get that question. It's always asked. Like, it's almost as if being single is a plague, right? And I say the answer to that question for me, why am I single? I'm single probably for the same reason that anybody else is married. And that's because I'm happy, right?
Personal preference.
It makes me happy. But that's not to say that I couldn't be engaged into a relationship or involved in a relationship and be happy too. I just know what I'm comfortable with and what makes me happy. And, for the time being and for a long time, for a lot of years up to this point, I've been happy. And if I'm happy, solo, I'm good with that.
Now,
So why do you
go ahead.
Why do you think they're asking that question though?
Oh, I think they asked the question because I think people look at me and they say, he's a decent looking guy. He got a halfway decent head on his shoulder. He got some goals, some aspirations. He's a gentleman, blah, 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 all that kind of good shit, right? And they think that I should be married. Like, they think that's marriage material. They think that's a man of value.
They want to know, like,
what the fuck is wrong with you?
What is the reason?
Like, is there what's the defect?
Right.
There must be some defect because all of the good men are married or are all the good men are taken. So they want to know, like, all right, well, you such an age, so why are you not married? Like, what's the issue? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I've been asked if I'm broken a million times too. Like, are you broken? Like, what's wrong with you? Like,
Wait, you said someone asked you that?
Yeah, shit, yeah. People get emboldened when they ask you questions about shit like that. When they get to know a little bit about you personally, they ask you a lot of shit like that. And I've been asked that. Yeah, I've even been told I'm broken. I've been told that I'm toxic. I've been told all kinds of shit. Right? I mean, it don't matter to me because I'm comfortable with who I am, and I know the reason why. Right? And I don't feel like, number one, I think being single holds a negative stigma in our society, especially after a certain age, after like 30, even a man, right? After 30. Why are you single? Like, most of my friends, they may not be married, but they're in some type of a committed monogamous relationship or committed polyamorous relationship, right? But there's some commitment there, right? People believe that because if you're single at my age, that there is a deficiency that you can't commit, right? They say I have a failure or an inability to commit, that I may be broken, a lot of different things. But the truth of the matter is, I'm single because I'm happy single. And that's not to say I couldn't be happy married too.
And I don't know this I don't want to generalize like all women, but I think some women, that's why they are interested in married men, because you heard that saying, like, all the good ones are married. Right. So a lot of these women are looking for the good ones. That's why you have so many like what you call them. I guess I don't know what they refer to them these days, but like home wreckers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not called home wreckers. They just call, champions.
Side pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or not even side pieces, but I'm just saying, like, that's why you have people like that get in these relationships and then, like they steal a man or you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Like,
think about what you're saying though. How can you be a good man if you stepping out on your wife? So you ain't a good one,
right? That's what I'm saying, right? But I'm saying that's what I was saying. Like
their mentality.
These women who seek these men out, you know what I mean?
Right.
Thinking that, he must be a good man because, but that's a good point. So if he's willing to step out with you, how good is he? Yeah.
And then you got to think about this too.
You said, wait a minute. So you saying, hold, guy. I mean, Neil. So you saying that, if a dude steps out, he's a bad guy.
If he's stepping out on his significant other, then he's not a good one. Because if he was a good one, he wouldn't be stepping out on his wife,
right?
Or whatever the case may be. But the thing is that everybody's not marriage material, and no offense to guy or anything like that, but everybody not marriage material, and some people are not built to be married. They just need to be a free spirit and do what they do.
I don't take no offense, brother.
Yeah.
I ain't built to be single.
That's right. And like I was saying, every married person is not necessarily a good, now
somebody say, "Yep, he's a horrible dude." I think they're talking about the person that steps out.
Identify yourself.
Right? Yeah. We can't see the name, or we would have mentioned who that person was.
And who's the terrible dude?
Right? Yes, I can't see it. I mean, but like you said though, it sounds like it's just a personal choice. If you decide that you want to be single, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The same way it's a choice. You know what I mean? You have to go with
like some people choose not to have kids. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Society has specific views on it though, and that's the thing that disheartens me sometimes. Because a single man will find himself explaining this over and over and over again. Whereas a married man, nobody's ever asking a married man why you married.
And you're like, damn, well, what's going on with you?
So, let me ask you this then. Can they mean it as a compliment? Like, yo, with the type dude you are and what you got going on, how are you still single? Why hasn't someone been able to snatch you up? Could they be meaning it that way?
No, because the tone of that question is always a tone of what is wrong with you. That's the tone. I never get the tone of like.
Hey, what's your problem, Holmes?
The tone is always what. No, you know what? If you that question could almost be synonymous with what's your problem.
Right.
You could exchange it almost. You could exchange one for the other almost and say, when people say, "Hey, guy, why are you single?" They can exchange and say, "Guy, what's wrong with you? Like, what's your deficiency? What's your issue?
Like,
why isn't there somebody out here for you? Like, do you have a tail? Do you have a second head that you keep tucked underneath your shirt? Like, what's going on with you, really?
Right.
But that's the tone that I get when I get that question. It's never a question of, yo, you all right? You a good dude? Why you? It's always. It's like the key to side eyes.
Yeah, like trying to figure you out.
Something ain't right here with you, brother. You know what I'm saying?
So so you get that primarily from women. I ain't no dudes out there ask you why you still single.
I don't think there's ever been a dude that asked me why I'm not married.
I mean, because the reason why I asked that because I'm wondering, again,
he want no stage. You like, dude.
I was just asking.
I wait to ask you why I'm single, brother.
Anyone, they want to know. He's like,
what's wrong with you? What's wrong, man? You okay? Yeah. I was just asking, right? Yo, Neil put out a 40. That's what I said.
He went old school on us.
Like, damn, he keeping it real.
I'm like, damn, we still on. You see me look. And then I thought it was St. Ives. I'm like, what is that?
Not just a 40, but
keeping it really, really real.
I need to pull out a 50.
Water.
But again, what I was wondering is, could that be their way of, like a little compliment, or to your point, is it that their way of trying to maybe get up under your skin, you know what I mean, in a side way of almost like a dig. But
it is a little dig. It's
Yeah.
a little dig. I take that as a little dig when I know it's a little dig. Some people genuinely ask out of curiosity. Like some people be like, oh, you never got yourself together after so and so dumped you, but I ain't been dumped in God knows how long. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
So, God, next time when a woman asks you that,
Mhm.
you give it a straight up answer because I want to do you, and with no strings attached. I want to do
Hey, would you
you
say yeah,
with no
clap and
strings
what?
attached.
You
I mean,
want
be
you
honest,
want clap and stack? What was it?
He said,
They want
clap.
to get them yams.
The yams, the
yams and
yams.
clap. That's
what
right.
it is.
Yeah,
I
get the
want
clap,
your yams,
yams
and I don't want you to ask me any questions later.
Send
See how they
some for the
respond to that.
yams, and that's it. That's
And
all.
that's it.
No
That's
more,
right.
no less.
Hey, yo, everybody, it's getting towards the end of the show, but I just want to remind everybody that on June the 11th, we still want to try to organize that Black Dollar Blackout. You know what I mean? To show, everybody the power of our black dollar. Also, next week, we plan to have on, what's the guy's name, Stace, that we met in Florida? Trump supporter.
Trump supporter. Oh, and
he's willing to come on the show, and we want to try to have a decent,
intelligent conversation, not a screaming session,
non-combative.
We want to understand
conversation and debate, so we can try to understand like what the fascination is behind. You want
to know why he's single.
Well,
what's wrong
what the
with
fascination is behind his supporters and because the guy that we met, he was doing some studio work for us, and he wasn't a racist.
No.
He was a nice guy. I mean, we hung out. We smoked a little bit together. They was drinking. He was a good guy. We had conversation back and forth, and it wasn't your normal what you would expect type of interaction between black people and a Trump supporter. So he
black Trump supporter or white Trump supporter?
No, he's white.
He's white.
Nice dude.
Yeah,
nice dude. So like
nice
Terry
guy
said,
too. Yeah, nice young buck.
Young fella. I mean, he didn't seem like a radical person, but I think what Terry said is true. We want to understand. I mean, we want to know because maybe he will enlighten us with something that
maybe every Trump supporter is not a racist. You know what I mean? Because he's clearly not a racist. Like you know what I mean?
Right. True.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
It's just that like we want to diagnose this whole thing and try to get to the.
We want to heal him.
No. I mean, we want to get to the reasoning behind the support.
Where is he on a social level as far as economically?
I don't think
economically.
I think he was. He
wasn't a regular working class guy, just like us.
There you go.
Right. So he. I tell you what it is. He's confused because he's voting against his own interests.
Right, but
maybe we'll find it out.
Try to find out where that confusion comes in. Like,
what
is he confused about, or what are we confused about? Our understanding of his confusion. You know what I'm saying? So
I know it's next week's show, but isn't his pigmentation, man? That's where the confusion is coming at.
Whoa,
that's where it's at.
Maybe he'll say that. I'm a white guy, Trump's a white guy.
It definitely should be a really interesting show. And I hope everybody tunes in, and we get some live interaction from our listeners, and but we do want to keep it civil. I just want to remind everybody that we want to keep it civil, and we want to keep it respectful. You know what I mean? Because we really appreciate him coming on to speak with us about it. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to have some really good topics. I got a couple topics in my head right now that I'm gonna write down as soon as we get off.
All right.
But like I said,
stay tuned next week.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Next week. And thank you for joining.
So, Guy,
anybody else got any comments?
Closing, right? Guy, you got anything you want to say, man?
Yeah, just Number one, I'm not running around trying to get the yams from everybody.
Not everybody.
I like the
but,
yams
you
just
know.
like everybody else, but it's not like it's run across my mind quite often. But I'm not just running around trying to.
Right.
And I won't compromise myself for the yams either. So just so
Right.
you know.
More than 2 topics.
So I'm good with that. And other thing, I just want to say thanks again for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Thanks for the platform that you guys provide to not just me, not Neil, but so many other folks that you provided this platform to. And thanks for your support in the community too, both of you. Because I know how you both do. We've worked together on a couple different things, and I appreciate what you guys do in and for the community. And again, just thanks for having me, and I look forward to the next time you guys have me on, and I'll be tuning in next week. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Neil.
Do you have any last words?
Oh, most definitely. I'd like to say I appreciate you guys having me out here on your platform tonight. Being able to chop it up, so to speak, is what Terry was telling me how y'all doing here, and also give me an opportunity to talk about this book here. And
Artificial Rain.
Artificial Rain. Yeah, I'll be doing a book signing too down in Gastonia on the 12th as an event that's done by Just Black for Black vendors who won't be down there selling their merchandise.
Oh,
Nice.
okay. Cool.
All Ike, you got anything else, man? Then you already did yours, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, and
All
one
right,
last
so-
thing I want to say, hey man, we got to support our HBCUs.
True.
Seriously, like because we won't have problems like that. Like down in UNC down here, they tripping over. They don't want to give what's the girlfriend name with 1619 Project. I forget what her
Right.
name is right off the top of my head. But yeah, they won't give her tenure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because because of some mostly white board, and they're not taking into consideration the magnitude of her work that she put out. So we want to take that out of the equation to have more of our people, because she graduated from UNC, but she, like I said, she wouldn't have that issue if she was if she would have went to a HBCU.
Right.
So-
right. All right. And on that note, just in closing, I want to say thank you everybody for joining in. We hope you enjoyed it. You see, we're working on this new format. We're going to continue to work on it. Hopefully, we'll continue to grow and the thing will get better. Don't forget, check us out on realbrotherslive.com. You can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, the whole 9. We working on TikTok next. No, we're not.
But yeah,
Don't forget.
this video will be live. It'll be uploaded to our website. It should be available tomorrow. We got to do a little bit of editing on this one, so it probably won't be there tonight, but we should have it up on there tomorrow.
Yep. So thank y'all
All
for
right.
tuning in.
Hey, before you go, I just want to say, you want to know who said, yep, he's a terrible dude? That was Nicole Myers Dowling.
What? I'll deal with her later.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
So in other words, it's coming from in the house. It's coming from in the house.
All right.
All right, y'all. All right, fellas. Appreciate
All
it.
right, fellas. Thanks again.
All right,
Peace.
thanks.
All right.
Peace.